Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make your colors pop using Lightroom. So here we are in Lightroom. This is the straight out of camera raw file. We're going to turn this into this. You can see the colors are a lot brighter. The subject here, which is the rock, sort of pops out from the background. And I'm going to show you how I created that. Let's just reset this. I've got a blank slate and we'll start from here. I normally start with a little bit of contrast. About there, I'm going to drop the highlights just to save them so they don't blow out. I'll boost the shadows a little bit just to recover some of this detail in here a little later on. I normally start with about 10 on the clarity slider, 10 on vibrance and 10 on saturation. It's just a standard sort of starting point for me. And then we'll jump all the way down to camera calibration. So I'm going to boost the red hue here just a little bit, the red primary, and I'll increase the saturation. So it's actually quite a lot. It's starting to look quite weird, but don't worry, we're going to decrease the hue on the blue primary to counteract it a little bit, put a bit of saturation in there. And then to counteract this yellowy look we've got going on now, we'll play with a green primary, roughly to about there. So we're getting a little bit of a teal and orange look over here. It's starting to look quite nice. It's coming together. We'll jump back up to the tone curve. That's what we'll play with next. We'll start with a simple S curve just to give it a little bit of contrast. And what I like to do is to just put a fade on the blacks here so that your black values aren't completely crushed. Just tweak this a little over here. Something like that is starting to look pretty good. And then we'll move on to our HSL section, our Hue Saturation and Luminance, and this is where the magic sort of happens. So I'll start with the hue. We'll move some of these oranges that you see in the rocks to a little more of a reddish tone. The yellows will move to a little bit of a greenish tone, maybe about there. The green will bring down, it's looking a little too green, especially over here. Bring that down a little bit more, right about there. Next we'll move on to the saturation. So here we're going to do quite a lot of playing around. We're going to drop the orange because we want to make these rocks a little less in your face. We'll boost the yellows a little bit, so you'll see that'll keep the color in the rocks, but it's not too harsh. We'll drop the greens a little bit. And we'll boost the aqua, which is going to help really bring the color out in the water here. Right about there. Maybe some of the blue as well. That water is starting to look really, really nice. Next we'll move on to luminance. And over here we're going to decrease the luminance of the yellow, so basically just bring down the brightness of these rocks. We'll also bring down the brightness of the green, just make certain areas of the water here a little darker. And I think that's looking pretty good. Next we'll move over into the detail section. I like to add a bit of sharpening, especially for this camera and lens combination. It's the 650D with the 18-135 STM lens. And I'll do a little bit of noise reduction as well, not a lot, just a little bit to smooth it out. I'll definitely do some lens corrections here. With that 650D and the 18-135, you see we can get rid of all that distortion. I also know that this lens has a bit of chromatic aberration, so I'll go in there and I'll just defringe that just a little bit. You might not have to do that for your photos, but I know with this camera lens combination, it's something that needs to be done. Next I'll move on to the effects and I'll dehaze this image just a little bit. Not a lot, it kind of puts a little bit more contrast in there, making it a little more punchy. And I'll put a subtle vignette on there just to bring a little bit of attention to this rock. What I'll do right now is I'll crop it for Instagram. It's 4:5 aspect ratio. Trying to get the rock in the center there, right about there. Lastly, I think I just want to make another tweak to the tone curve here, just to bring out the shadows a little bit in that rock. Just bringing back a little bit more detail there, maybe drop the highlights on the tone curve there just a little bit. And there you have the final image. You can see the blue in the water here is popping out nicely. You've got nice separation between the blue and the orange of the rocks, looking quite nice. Here's the before just so you can see where we started, and here's the after so you can see where we ended up. And there you have it guys, it's as easy as that. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you guys in the next video.